What is going on, everybody? Welcome to EDT, the Everyday Thoughts podcast. Let me explain the name change really quick. Turns out, one of the more painstaking and difficult processes of making this show was actually thinking of a decent name. We felt like we were overthinking it, so when we thought of the name, Unfiltered, we were like, okay, we're done. We don't need to think about the name anymore. Let's just focus on what's more important: the content, the concept, the format, everything else. Turns out we made the rookie mistake of not even checking to see if that name was taken. Turns out there are like 4 other podcasts that are called Unfiltered. There's UFC Unfiltered, the Unfiltered podcast with James O'Brien, I think, or something like that. I don't know. There's straight up just the Unfiltered podcast, exactly like ours. And then there's Unfiltered, which is on Spotify. Yeah, turns out we were much more unoriginal than we thought we were. But we finally found a good name, and we actually checked to see if it was taken. It's not, thankfully. And yeah, so EDT, that's our new name. Regardless, we put a lot of work, a lot of time and effort into making our very first episode. So we're going to leave that up there, but we're completely restarting. We're relaunching, essentially. We felt that it was completely appropriate, considering that we're still pretty new. We have like 3 subscribers, 2 of which are ourselves, and we have like only like 20 views in total, 10 of which are like us. Yeah, so it's pretty early in the game, so we thought, why not? So yeah, EDT podcast. That's who we are now. Speaking of our last video though, so I was sitting down and editing the video in Windows Movie Maker, and I was scrolling through my recommended feed on the YouTube app, taking a small break, just watching some videos, and then I stumbled upon this video called Philip DeFranco is Scamming You. Now, that sort of piqued my interest a little bit, because I'm an avid watcher of Philip DeFranco, full disclosure, and I sure as hell don't like getting scammed, so I thought to myself, it would break my heart if my favorite YouTuber is scamming me. So I thought to myself, I'll check out this video and see what he's talking about, because I sure as fuck don't like getting scammed. And, well, the video, I have to say, fuck, man. Is there anything you want to say, Devin?
I mean, I watched Philip DeFranco too, and then when you sent this to me, I was like, I'm kind of curious about what this is about. Well, why? Because I know you're a fan. Well, why would you be sending this to me? So definitely thought I'd check it out too. And, well, what we discovered.
Man, kavos. Oh, by the way, the name of this channel is called Kavos, or Kavos, Cavity Search, whatever his name is. And, well, some of the points he brings up, a lot of them, some of them are interesting points, and some of them are just straight up lies. So we thought we watched the video together and just kind of point out some of the straight up bullshit that we found in this video, and maybe help Kavos correct himself a little bit. Because we found that he seemingly did not do his research whatsoever. Because there's some very false information in this video. So let's check it out.
With great excitement, fans flocked to the Patreon page, couldn't wait to give this multi-millionaire their hard-earned cash. And as it stands, the Patreon currently has 13,746 pledges. But wait, red flag already. Unlike most other creators on Patreon who are happy to disclose to their fans how much they're making, not Philip DeFranco, no. He's decided to hide the amount that he's making on Patreon. Now that seems like a very shady thing to do. Now quickly, I want you to watch this clip of Philip DeFranco describing another business venture he has going on a few days ago.
I'm going to sit down with Adi Seidman. He's the CEO of YouNow. He's launching this new thing called Rise. Also, there's a cryptocurrency involved called Props. It is incredibly important for you to know that I'm an advisor. Obviously, it's in my best interest and probably contractually in there that they want me to talk about it. I'm going to invest my own money in it. So if you decide to participate, which I'm not saying do, holy shit, just know that this is a thing that I would profit from. I want to be as 100% transparent as possible.
So clearly being transparent with his fans is important to Philip DeFranco. So why the fuck are you being so untransparent and hiding how much you're getting off your fans from Patreon? Your fans are the one giving you the money. They deserve to know how much you're making. But we all know why Philip actually did this, why he's hidden it. If a fan decides, you know what, I want to pledge to Philip DeFranco, and he logs on and he sees that he's making $200,000 a month. That fan will be way less inclined to want to pledge. He'll think, oh, he's enough money, he's more than enough, he doesn't need my money. It's a very sneaky and shady tactic to just get more money from your fans. That's all it is. There's no other reason to be hiding this.
But he's not the only one who chooses not to disclose their information, and that's one thing that that I noticed. His choice of word makes it seem a little more shady, a little more sinister than it really is. And there are plenty of other people who don't disclose their earnings. You make it seem like he's the only one who chooses to quote unquote hide how much they make. It doesn't really matter anyways, because if you look on the Patreon wiki, it says that Patreon provides business tools for creators to run a subscription content service, which is exactly what Philip DeFranco is doing. He's running a subscription content service.
And if you watch the new H3H3 podcast, I think they even have a highlight of him talking solely about his Patreon. He said along the lines of they don't show their earnings for the reason solely because they don't want people to go take this is how much he's earning, putting it into what he's giving out and being like, oh, 1-to-1, this doesn't seem right, when in reality it's building the corporation. You're not going to see all the back business stuff that's going on, and people might assume, oh, he's wasting people's money like this video tries to say, when in reality he's putting the money into, like, he's getting employees, he has to pay them salaries, benefits, and if you don't consider that, then you're going to be like, oh, fucking $5, I get a mug and a goddamn poster. That's not fair. Look how much he's making, but he's using it more as a business model, not a donation model.
Right, exactly. And because that's what Patreon is. It's not a donation service necessarily. It's not meant to be like a Kickstarter. A Kickstarter, you have to disclose how much you make because it's a donation platform. Patreon, you're paying for stuff. You pay for shit and you get shit. It's a transaction. It's not a donation.
That's
right.
Etc.
Equipment, sets. You probably have to hire an IT guy.
Professional editors on payroll.
Oh, definitely. Definitely has professional editors.
Sound designers, probably getting his sound all set up.
Right. And he probably has people
lighting
to run his Patreon as well.
I mean, he's pretty much running a production company at this point, not a YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah. It's his own company.
He's using DeFranco Elite pretty much to fund his production company to then put his videos out on YouTube. This service isn't necessarily going straight into YouTube, but it is making the show happen.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, again, there are plenty of other creators that choose not to disclose how much they make on Patreon for various reasons. Not that they have something to hide necessarily. And that whole, like, someone sees how much that they're making, if they're making too much or quote unquote too much, that they'll be less inclined to contribute. That's bullshit. I mean, the founder, or not the founder, the CEO of Amazon, his net worth is $97.7 billion fucking dollars. I don't look at that and think to myself, what the fuck do I need Prime for? I should get that shit for free. That's absolutely fucking stupid. You're paying for exclusive shit that you wouldn't get with the regular non-subscription based service.
I mean, and going back to what was going on with Philip DeFranco, his show might have literally disappeared if he didn't get the funding he got, because another company could have taken it over, and if he was expressing opinions they didn't like, they could take that down. So he had to buy back his own company.
Right. At this point, his YouTube channel is beyond just a dude and in front of his camera in his room. But anyways, moving on.
So let's all watch DeFranco's pitch to his Patreon and why we should give him all our money.
I am so nervous and excited about today. That's because today I am so happy to announce for the first time in 4 years, I am an independent creator again. Now, I am so thankful to Group 9 Discovery Digital Networks for the experiences I had, the amazing people I was able to work with, but this is a necessary and I feel important change. I want to make the next great news network. A network that's run under my vision of it is okay to have and share opinions, but let's get the facts right first. Let's express what both sides are actually saying, give their points of view.
You gotta love the unfinished construction site in the background. You know, every ladder and every little piece has been placed there so strategically and so carefully. So when the audience is watching, they go, whoa, look at all that construction work Phil's doing. He must need my money to help him build.
At this point, I mean, he's just nitpicking things like, oh, it looks like he set up this little building area to, like, trick people into getting it. Even if he did set this up, maybe he's just trying to convey that there's change coming and he's making changes, he's moving offices, blah blah blah. So he made a little setback drop. Like, who cares? That's not. I don't get the point of saying any of this at this point. Like,
I mean, it's not like he just like brought those in as props either. I mean, he's like really doing shit, but yeah, he probably did want to set the aesthetic. Like, this is, we are building this from the ground up. We need your help. So, yeah, maybe he did kind of purposely record in front of his construction site, but so what?
well, I mean, that's like complaining that an actual construction company filmed in front of their construction stuff and was asking for donations to help continue its building or something. Like, putting part of what's going on in the background. It's an empty point. He's pretty much taking jabs that just they're empty statements. Like,
Exactly.
it's like when you have a point against someone like a big YouTuber like Rice Gum or anyone that's big out there, and you want to make a point against them, you have to hit them with a fact and not oh, look, he has a set. Like, that's an empty jab. That doesn't prove anything. And then he says, you can't estimate, you can't assume things. You have to deal in fact when you're talking about someone, especially if you want to call them out for scamming.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's really nothing more we can say about that. Moving on.
This whole situation first piqued my interest in August when I put out a tweet saying, after months and months, where is Phil DeFranco's new network, or is that money on his Patreon going to pocket? Then I got a reply which linked me to Philly D's tweet saying, the new DeFranco show is almost there. So close. See you soon. So it's been 4 months since that tweet, so let's see if a new DeFranco show lives up to all its promises. I mean, I assume it's out by now. It's been 4 months. Let's start by taking a look at what he promised 7 months ago. I want to take this successful show / mindset and build a news and entertainment network around it. I have now left my safe full-time job of 4 years, purchased back the rights to my show and investing a ton of money into making new content and building out a new facility. But I can only take this to the next level with your support. So let's see if these 7 months of Patreon pledges, because remember, Patreon pledges are monthly. He's had 7 months worth of this money coming into his account. It's not a one-time transaction. Let's see if this has helped him take his show to the next fucking level. So this is what Philly D's show looked like before he made the Patreon and before he needed his fans' money. And this, are you ready? This is what it looks like after. New cushions and, oh, look at the lights. Brand spanking new lights. Oh my god, you have taken these 7 months of Patreon pledges and you put it to such good use, man. This is some next level shit.
Okay, well, first of all, that tweet that you're referencing had absolutely nothing to do with DeFranco Elite or the news network he's trying to build. It was supposed to be, it was in reference to the episode of the PDS for that particular day, you fucking donut.
It's something he does regularly when he's going to put out an episode.
Right. And it's something we know because we follow him on Twitter. You know, we see these tweets all the fucking, or I follow him on Twitter. I don't even know if you have a Twitter. Do you have a Twitter?
I do.
Oh, what? I don't even know.
I don't use it.
You don't tell me this shit. How come you don't tell me this shit, bro?
Because I don't use it.
Neither do I. Well, sometimes. Anyways, and even then, he's changed more than just the cushions. First of all, you understand that he tore down and rebuilt that set. Well, not himself, the set builders that he hired. In those 4 or whatever, how many ever months that you say, he's done a shit ton of hiring. He's hired producers, editors.
And in those screenshots he even shows to try to tear him down, you can see that lighting has gotten better. His
Right.
set got a little bit better.
The set got a lot
Like,
better.
Not just the background, but I mean like how it's actually being recorded.
Right, and the wall is closer too, so you can tell he didn't just like move his desk. He's not filming in his room. He has a set. He has an office, and he's also moved offices since that video, since those 2 screenshots.
I mean, his
2
set is
different
built
offices.
to look like he's just in an office doing his thing.
Right,
but
exactly.
In reality, it's a set. But a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and you'd know this if you just watch his shit. Because he's pretty open about this. He documents everything, and $250,000. What happens if he doesn't disclose that information? Unless you just pulled that number straight out of your ass.
Well, also like putting his little I mean, like, his minimum he could be making, that minimum's pretty low if you're paying salaries for however many people he has hired, which I think you said earlier was like 16 or something you heard or saw.
Right. And he's gone on record to say that he pays himself right now 7 figures less than he could have been making if he had signed a deal. So, fuck, dude. I don't know.
He's trying to please his fans and keep his show running the way he wants and not take these big money deals and sell out pretty much and just take money and do what he's been doing already.
Exactly. I mean, fuck, what do you want from him, man? Anyways, moving on.
Philip DeFranco has money shooting out of his arse, and 7 months ago had the balls to ask his fans for more money to start a news network when the only change we've seen in his show is nothing. It's exactly the fucking same. The only new things viewers get are a mug and a poster. And guess what? Some people aren't even getting their Patreon rewards. John Scares tweeted this out regarding Philip DeFranco's Patreon reward system. I already cancelled my Patreon commitment a few months back because I never received some of the rewards originally offered. I don't think Phil's scamming anyone though. I think it's being put to good use. Scares, just regarding the pledge and rewards, if you pay money and are promised something and you don't get it, that, my friend, is a scam. And this is the problem with Philip DeFranco. People are so scared to criticize him because he's such a golden boy of YouTube. Scares literally got scammed by Philip DeFranco and let him off the hook by saying, oh, I'm sure my money has been put to good use, even though I was promised something in return for my cash and didn't get it. Oh, if it's Philip DeFranco, he's probably put it somewhere really safe and really great. So let's recap what Philip DeFranco's Patreon investors are getting for their money, because he's been taking your money for 7 months. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been going into his bank account for his news network. So let's just have a look. The list is too long to remember from the top of my head, so I have to read it from my phone. You get 2 new cushions on the set, 2 new lamps, and maybe if you're lucky, a mug and a poster. But don't worry if you don't get that and you don't get what you're promised. Phil's probably putting the money to great use, like buying a brand new Tesla.
Talk about the Tesla Model 3. Tesla Motors, of course, the leader in electric cars so far. First the Roadster, the S, the X, and now the Model 3. And as far as my opinion, I love it. I actually am one of the 276,000 that have pre-ordered.
Doesn't it just make your heart warm that Phil can buy a brand new Tesla?
If he uses his own income 100%, he's going to run out of money eventually unless his channel just suddenly starts getting not demonetized, blah, 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 blah. He probably has his own money. He probably pays himself I'd say probably a decent amount, but there's no evidence that comes straight from the Patreon. And the Patreon money is going to keep the show running. Like, he's just using it to keep the show running and try to improve it as he goes. Like, the main thing was not that he was going to change his show drastically to this big fucking, like, next generation CNN. It's not going to become fucking CNN. He was doing it to break away from a corporation, so he was running his own company. So he didn't have to worry about saying, he could say whatever he wants on his channel, like, pretty much. He was becoming independent again. But he can't be independent forever without funding.
And from what he says, he does want to create like this big news network and entertainment network, but it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in 7 months. It's going to take a long time. And I admittedly, as an avid Philip DeFranco watcher and subscriber, I've been somewhat frustrated with how long it's taken, because, you know, I would hope by now you'd see a little more visual progress, but I understand that it takes a lot longer than I probably realized, because I've never ran my own news network. I've never ran my own entertainment network. So
he's not a CNN or a Fox News that's been around for just years and years and years and years and years. He's been around at the most since 2006 when YouTube started, and that's not that long, especially considering when he actually took off, when his content actually changed into purely news related things. It's like he's not this big staple that can, like a CNN that's been around forever and can just hold its own because it's CNN or something. He has to like try and pretty much work his way up slowly to becoming this big, well-known thing. He's big, but he's not gigantic by any means yet. Like, he's not 60 million like PewDiePie's almost at already.
exactly.
He has a lot. I can't remember his exact subscriber count,
He
but
was like 58 million or some shit like that.
well, no, I'm saying Philip DeFranco's subscribers. I don't know what his.
He's got like 5 or 6.
Yeah, so he hasn't even hit 10 million yet. That means he's not even diamond play button yet. like when he gets into those tiers, that's probably when he'll actually have the money to make it more like a news network and have possibly even multiple channels going.
Yeah, because I imagine that's what he wants to do. And in fact, if you watch his content, you'd know that he's actually even looking for more on-camera personalities. So he's gonna have more shows. Is just his trouble is finding people who aren't to one side of the spectrum or the other. You know?
I remember months ago, or like a bunch of months ago or something, when this was all starting, he was looking into hiring people. He had a application and everything for people to possibly come on and do certain segments already. So he clearly has these plans. He just can't execute them until the timing is right and the money is right.
Right.
And without knowing exact figures, which granted he's not releasing, but that's a company, I don't think Sony owes to show me their money just because I play on their service or something
Right.
on a PlayStation. I don't think they have to disclose things, but he's clearly using the money to slowly build up. Like his production value's gone slightly up since the Patreon, and he's now making more merchandise. He's making more gifts for DeFranco Elite.
It's very incremental. And what's really cool about the Patreon too, because I'm actually a DeFranco Elite member myself. I actually signed up like after watching this video, surprisingly enough. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this guy have an adverse effect. I'm gonna become a DeFranco Elite member. And that's exactly what I did. And you know what? It's actually kind of cool because you're kept more in the loop about what's going on with DeFranco's news network.
And he's building it up slowly. And you can even see that in some things small,
Right.
but he's building.
Right. And the more you fund, the more in the loop you get, you know, like I can't even get into the live town halls yet because I'm only donating $5. I think I have to donate like $10 in order to be in the live town halls, which kind of bums me out, you know, because that's what I was like looking forward to the most. But even then, it's like, fuck it, whatever. You know, I still get these exclusive videos, which are actually pretty entertaining because it's just more Philip DeFranco show, which I love.
Well, that's the problem with this video. It's not an insider looking in. He's an outsider scanning the outside of what's going on. If he had signed up, even just for a month, just to research and look at it, he might understand. Because, of course, the DeFranco Elite people are going to be kept in the news. They're the ones funding it. They are the ones doing it. What he's saying here, again, it's just empty. Again, like, he's saying, oh, but he has money. Well, I'm sure he has money. He had a successful YouTube channel. He still does. But, I mean, he's probably not making very much off YouTube anymore. Like, even PewDiePie himself doesn't try to go with the trends because it doesn't make him that much money. Or he's not making money off his YouTube channel at this point. He's funding it with his money. And the YouTube's probably barely making enough on his to keep him running without dipping into his own funds. But with Philip DeFranco, I mean, he's more of an entrepreneur than a YouTuber. Like, he clearly probably wants to save some of his personal money he's made over the years, and he's using the Patreon to fund this stuff. So it's empty to say, oh, but he's rich. Oh, okay, but Bill Gates is rich doesn't mean he should stop selling computers and
shut down Windows. You've made too much money already.
But Philip DeFranco's is also in a YouTube right now, which is, I mean, you can't put all your eggs in a basket. Most of all YouTube, even if you're big, like even if you're a big YouTuber at this point, you can't put all your eggs into YouTube. Like, you have to have a backup plan. So of course he's gonna save money and make sure his family and everything's set up.
Right. And to the whole, like, you know, Scarce not getting his package, I agree with Kavos in the fact that Scarce, if you don't get something, if you pay for something and you don't get it in the mail, there's something wrong. Look into it. Don't be a passive bitch. You know, get your money's worth. But
Scarce says that, but he doesn't show like that. Like he message Philip DeFranco. I mean, he's big enough. He could probably message him and get a response on Twitter. He's big enough. Or just do what normal people would do and look into. And I've on the H3H3 podcast highlight. He acknowledged we have a guy, which is another salary he's paying, that literally deals with just lost packages and damaged packages and getting people their packages back.
Yeah, I think it's a lady. They have someone on the back end to take care of that sort of thing. You know, it's like, have you ever gotten a package like lost or arrived broken from Amazon? You know, of course, it doesn't mean that Amazon is scamming you. It just means that something went wrong. So now go and get your money's worth, dude.
Especially if something is mass produced.
It's not being scammed. You know, that's just sort of something, it's just some bullshit that you're kind of you're kind of leaning on, honestly.
Well, again, he's pushing a blank statement again because what Scarce did doesn't make sense in any other situation. I mean, unless you don't want the thing you wanted. Yeah, like you said, like if you buy something off eBay, Amazon, anything online service related, if it doesn't show up, you don't just sit there and go, "Oh well, guess my money went into the pocket and it's probably going to good use." No,
Right.
you would you would look into this. You would message the company and be like,
Where's
"Yo,
my
didn't
shit?
get my stuff. Where's my fucking shit?"
I paid for this
And
shit.
then they'd probably be like, "Oh, sorry, we seems to have been lost. We ship tons of crap out every day. Here, we're going to fix this and send you another."
Yeah, you don't have to fucking cancel it.
Exactly. It's like just because a package didn't show up, I wouldn't cancel Amazon Prime.
Exactly.
Like it's not Prime's fault that a package didn't get here. It's probably the postal service or whatever company it was getting shipped through. I mean, at this point, we're just repeating ourselves, but it's because it's just a blank statement. It's a blank statement.
Right, we're going in circles. That's exactly what it is. And man, I can't help but feel like he just has like some sort of agenda because no one could be this fucking oblivious and no one can have this much lack of research in an opinion piece.
Well, like I mean, I've been subscribed to his channel and I've liked some of his videos in the past about kavos, and I just don't understand where this video is coming from, to be honest. Like, I don't see what he has against, other than Keemstar seems to have a problem with Philip DeFranco. I don't, and this, he works with Keemstar sometimes. I don't understand why he would feel the need to do this. This, if anything, this feels almost like the Leafy thing. You know?
Right.
When Keemstar was crying that they were attacking him, well, it seems like he's starting this attack with his buddies attacking
Exactly.
and jumping on and asking them to make videos. I mean, not that he asked them. I don't know, obviously. So, and I'm not going to go into speculation like Kavos has, but like, you know, it seems like they're jumping on him and it doesn't make any sense. Like, at this point, the only thing this video has is I don't like how this guy's running his corporation.
Right. Like, who the fuck are you to say how this guy should run his shit? Focus on you, man. And especially don't assume things. My 7th grade social studies teacher told me that never assume, because assuming makes an ass out of you and kavos. But moving on.
Phil also claims he's using his money to pay for his employees. Well, I know for a full fact that before this Patreon shit, Philip DeFranco had a lot of employees as well. This is a vlog in February before the Patreon where you can clearly see multiple employees, and his business and the channel was still profiting back then. And in his recent shows, he's listed 3 employees who helped make the Philip DeFranco show: the editor, the producer, and the motion graphic artist. Now, assuming he has a few researchers, Philip DeFranco needs about 4 to 5 people to make one of his shows. That's it. And on top of this, as a YouTuber myself, seeing people have people edit videos for them, it saddens me. You know, why do you need someone to edit your own videos? You were doing it at the start on your own. Having editors, motion graphic designers, producers, you know, the producer might even write the scripts for him. Having all of this is a luxury fucking item to have. And there's no reason why Philip DeFranco should be asking his fans to fund shit that's way extra and he doesn't even need. He can edit and make his videos on his own like he used to. And in comparison to this, other channels in similar genres as Phil, such as Drama Alert run by Keemstar, he only has 2 employees. And you might wonder, Kavos, how do you know this? I know because I personally have worked on Drama Alert and temporarily filled in for Keem. I've seen how it runs. He has 2 researchers and that's it. And the production level on Drama Alert and Philip DeFranco's videos, they're not miles apart at all. They're pretty similar if you ask me. Especially isn't enough to warrant a Patreon with 13,000 pledges. And this proves that Philip DeFranco doesn't need a Patreon. I mean, you see channels like Keemstar, Scarce, they run on their own. They never ask for crowdfunding. Philip DeFranco right now is doing nothing different to these channels. He's uploading and doing the same stuff.
He has a set that he's hired people to build.
The production value doesn't make any sense to criticize, because even if they were similar, okay, so what? Like, they're similar. And to say that he doesn't do things on his own anymore and that why he needs this big team doesn't make sense either, because he's stepping up production. Like,
Right.
You're saying like, well, why don't you edit your videos anymore? Well, because he's not an editor. That wasn't his job. He just had to do it because he was a lone guy starting a YouTube channel. Like, He's not some specialized role like Steven Spielberg. He's not a director. Like, he's not going into these specialized roles. If he ever had to film
Exactly.
something or do the lighting for a show, he wasn't professional at it, probably, because he just had to do it and set it up and get it working for a show. And now that he has the funds, now he can hire people to make it look professional. And then, like, to say he's buying a Tesla, no, again, no one doubts he's well off. He's
Right.
definitely succeeded in life.
He's not a starving creator by any means or any stretch of the definition.
Exactly. Like, he's not going out there saying, I have no money. I have no money and I need you to do this. He's saying, we're breaking off from what we used to do. And he says when his channel was profitable back in the day, well, yeah, he had a corporation backing him.
Right.
If he's saying before, like way back, like a couple years ago, then yeah, he didn't have the adpocalypse happening either. But even when the adpocalypse happened, he had a company backing him for a while. And now that the adpocalypse has happened, on top of the fact that he went independent, now he literally has to fund everything.
Exactly. He's pretty much self-funded at this point.
On the H3 podcast, he even said he took his employers with him, like his employees,
Right.
with him, meaning they were probably on the company's payroll, not his.
Exactly. His contract, meaning that once he broke away from that contract, all those people lost their jobs. Philip DeFranco rehired every single one of them.
So if anything, his point he made right here pretty much has proved the fact that, yes, he needs money to spend these things without dipping into his own funds. If he dips into his own funds and his savings, then you're forcing this creator to then take the money he's earned over his success and business ventures, and you're telling him to put it
Right.
into his company and slowly just wash out possibly his money. Like, he could go bankrupt doing that. He's taking a safe corporation route where he's having the show funded by the people who want to see it, and while keeping his savings. Like, he's more of a CEO of this company. He's just also the face of it.
I mean, really? Keemstar? You're going to compare him to Keemstar? The dude can seriously benefit from a research team. And I mean, what is Drama Alert if not just a fucking TMZ of YouTube? I mean, what do they research anyways? Fucking tweets? Because what Philip DeFranco talk about and what Drama Alert talk about, they're much more different than you realize. Because Philip DeFranco talks about real world current events that affect our daily lives, whereas Keemstar fucking pulls up tweets. What is that? That's absolutely nothing. That's ridiculous. And yeah, Philip could probably milk the PDS until it fucking dies, but he wants to grow. He wants to be bigger than that. He wants to be bigger than just a dude editing videos in his fucking room all day. And even if he were to do that by himself, he still has a wife and 2 kids he has to spend time with. He can't just forget them. You know, if you want to stick to doing the same thing forever, and if that works for you, more power to you, dude. If you want to play it safe and not grow as a creator and not become bigger and not create something bigger than you, then you do you, man. But you don't tell another person how to run their shit. You worry about yourself. What's wrong with you, Kavos?
Well, I mean, at this point, all his points are just, this is not what I would do. Well,
Yeah.
okay, then, but that's not a criticism of someone. That's just not what you would do. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't want to go out. I mean, I don't want to go out there and be a race car driver, but I'm not going to say they don't have skill and they're not doing their own
Right.
thing. Like, I'm not going to say, well, they're pretty stupid. I mean, what, NASCAR, they only turn left. I mean, that's no skill. I mean, I don't doubt that NASCAR takes a lot of fucking skill to learn how to drive.
Exactly. And not only that, but think about it this way. Philip DeFranco, he has these aspirations as a creator. And you're just straight up telling him, well, he shouldn't because he could just do this and make money. But yeah, money is second to him, dude. If you couldn't tell, he sort of contradicts himself. You know, he's like, why is he so greedy? Why is he asking his fans for money if he's so rich? You know, and he's like, well, why does he have to ask his fans for money if he could just do the PDS and milk so much money? Well, then what is your deal then? You're kind of chasing your own tail right here, buddy. I mean, I hate to piss in your blood pudding, dude, but you know, he can't grow by himself or even just with a team of 2 to 5 people. He needs a team of 16 people. I'm surprised he only has 16 people. Surprised he doesn't have a team of like 30 or 40.
Well, I mean, and he's hiring more for a reason.
Exactly. And which means more salaries, more benefits. You know, these people don't exactly make minimum wage here. They went to college.
And even if they did, that is still a lot of money. Like, Kavos here wants to estimate high. I mean, even if we estimate low, that's like at minimum wage. That's a lot of money. With you have 16 people making that much money.
Right. And I don't know, it's just ridiculous. This whole video is just based off a narrative that this guy has seemingly, well, you know what? He's not the only one who's creating this, because I've seen plenty of other videos like this.
Well, again, this video, our video isn't meant to be a hit job on Kavos.
Either,
I
right.
honestly don't care what this dude thinks, but that's the thing. He's putting it out there like this is fact, and it's just a big opinion piece.
Exactly. And the thing
It's
is,
more or less, I don't like Philip DeFranco. You shouldn't like Philip DeFranco. Look at how he's running his company.
exactly. And like, I kind of understand what he's doing to a degree, you know, or at least the way he sort of puts it off is that he's trying to look out for the little guy. You know, it's like no one likes to be scammed, you know. So he sort of puts it off as like, I'm just looking out for people who are getting scammed. But it seems a little disingenuous, honestly, because it doesn't seem like that's what you're doing. It seems more or less like you're trying to go after someone who is slightly more successful than you know, and you're giving him shit about starting a Patreon, but you started one too, and you don't seem to acknowledge that in your video at all, and that's because your fans, they hated that. You know, you got a lot of fan backlash for starting your Patreon, therefore you deleted it. And a good reason for that is because your demographic is probably vastly different than Philip DeFranco's demographic. No disrespect, he attracts a slightly more mature crowd than
Well, also,
you
put
do,
it this way. If Kavos had made a Patreon
which he did.
and said he was hiring 5 people to up his production value, his editing, his software, blah, 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 that might have actually been something people would pay for, like the Philip DeFranco show. But when you put up a Patreon and you're saying pretty much, here, I want some money, and not that I'm saying that's what Kavos did, he might not be making money from the adpocalypse either, blah, 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 but then you should be sympathetic to what's happening to Philip DeFranco and why he needs to pledge out money to fund. Well, like, what it just, one thing that doesn't seem to us, Kavos doesn't seem to just get in this is, he's not with a company anymore. He is independent. He is paying for everything.
Exactly.
And if he goes in his pocket, he's going to dwindle his money and savings that he has earned over the years. And he made this big company. He has the right to earn that money and hold on to it. And then try to functionally keep his show running a different way than bleeding his own bank account. And then saying the Patreon goes straight into his bank account. That's again speculation. That's probably not how it goes.
Right.
It probably goes into an account. He allocates it straight into the show. I mean, not that we know that's how that goes, but if you're going to speculate, then why not speculate the other way? I mean, at that point, you're getting nowhere. We're not speaking in facts. But
Exactly. You're not being fair at all. But not only that, I feel like a large part as to why your Patreon failed is, and I can't say for sure because I didn't look at your Patreon, and I couldn't if I wanted to because you deleted it. But I feel like a big reason that yours failed is because you saw it more as like a donation site. It's not a donation site. There's a donation aspect to it, but if you give like $1, you're obviously not going to get any rewards. And I imagine that considering that from a large part, Kavos seems like a very independent creator. He might have a network behind him, who knows? But he seems like he essentially films this, edits it on his own, and uploads it on his own. He's his own boss. Which is totally cool, you know, good for you. You're pretty much doing the same exact thing, except Philip is just kind of doing it on a bigger scale. And I imagine that Kavos didn't quite have the means to deliver any rewards to his patrons in the first place.
you go to CNN, Bill O'Reilly's not the fucking guy back there. Bill O'Reilly's not on the show.
Oh, really?
Fucking, I don't even know if he's on the show anymore. Whatever, that's not the point. Any news anchor, you don't think the anchor's back there mixing the audio and fucking throwing up the splash screens. Like,
Exactly.
you're just, it's almost like if he was more in a CEO spot and wasn't the face of his own show, it wouldn't need this backlash. But then, because he's the face of his own show, people are like, but you're the creator, you should be doing all this. But he needs to fund it somehow and without just completely bleeding his own bank account.
Right. But yeah, we're just gonna leave that off there. Kavos, do some research, you know, and I'm saying this not in anger, not in frustration, you know, like people make mistakes, but I just hope that you can own this one, dude, because I'm surprised I would be surprised if this is still relevant at this point.
By the time this video goes up, I would be surprised if the video didn't come down
or if he hasn't uploaded like some sort of retraction.
Yeah, or an apology video / whatever, like like a, what you said, a retraction.
Right,
It's
like
gone up.
because there's straight up misinformation in here. It's not like inflated numbers or over exaggerated facts. It is straight up misinformation.
And opinions and speculation. There's
Right.
not facts. There's almost little to no facts in here.
It just seems like a hit piece that wasn't executed very well. If you want to do a good hit piece, dude, iDubbbz, there you go. Take notes from that dude.
He hits you clean. He hits you with facts. You kind of have to be like, well, fuck that.
Right. You just kind of have to say, well, shit, I'm fucked. This is over. Might as well watch my channel burn. But anyways, we're just gonna leave that off there. Kavos, you do you, my friend. You continue to rely solely on AdSense, and shout outs from your daddy Keemstar. But we're moving on. But yeah, guys, I mean, cheeky ass jokes aside, we're not doing this to, we're not making this like a hit piece or anything. We just feel that misinformation has been spread, and we feel the need to correct it. And of course, we're not the only ones who have done this either. Plenty of people have made videos on this guy already. But yeah, guys, those are just our thoughts on that shit.
So pretty much no negativity was trying to be thrown either way. We're pretty much nobodies. It's not like we were trying to throw shade in the first place. But yeah, that's pretty much just our opinions on the thing, trying to correct some misknown information.
Yeah. Just thought we'd put it out there. No disrespect. Again, jokes aside, no disrespect. You do you, my man, but just do some research next time. But yeah, guys, this was a very kind of like irregular upload. We will be back with a podcast very soon. We just wanted to make this video because we felt it important. But yeah, catch us on the next episode of EDT.
All new and rebranded stuff. And we might do some of these videos in the future, if we feel the need to. But otherwise, we'll keep regular podcast uploads probably. So if you like what you hear, just like and subscribe. Check out our podcast. And peace.
See you.
Philip DeFranco did not set up his Patreon to support him. He made that Patreon to fund a news network.